All right, good evening and welcome to 10 Reasons to Batch Cook Spaghetti. I wanted to do this today. I wanted to do this tonight because sometimes it's just hard to get home and actually want to cook a meal. So I figured I'd show you what I do on, kind of a regular occasion, batch cooking spaghetti. I like to batch cook it because then I know exactly what ingredients I put in there. And there are things that I like in my spaghetti that some people may not like mushrooms. Not everybody is a mushroom fan. Um, and you don't necessarily get my version of the recipe in a jar. Although, honestly, being able to have a jar of something like the Classico spaghetti, it's really nice to have in the kitchen. You can throw it on the stove, but I want my spaghetti to have a little bit of tooth to it, a little bit of chunkiness, like as if you're eating a meaty spaghetti, just something to put your teeth into, not just the sauce, although you can dress the sauce up too on the stove. But if I batch cook it, I don't have to worry about the sauce. I can have it frozen, put away, and ready to go. So, I come from the theory that if you want to lose weight, you should probably be eating as low fat as possible. And if you've never cooked low fat, it might actually intimidate some people, but it's pretty easy. All I do is I heat up a pan for a little bit and I start with my onions. We're going to cook onions, saute them on the stove without any oil at all. There's really no need for it. They cook up pretty nicely. And as long as you have like a little bit of water or a little vegetable broth, you can throw that in there if you need to. But the first thing you do, you just put the onions in, spread them out a little bit. If you're trying to avoid salt, don't salt it. I like to salt it a little bit just to start sweating the onions out. When they're in a nice pan like that, you can hear them sizzling away right there. That means that they're already getting to work cooking. So you just leave it alone. Don't play with it. Don't touch it for a little bit. Let them get nice and heated up. Let the heat of the pan do their work. Because they have a lot of water in there, you're cooking off a little bit of that water and starting to saute them down to where you want them to be as far as the I'm not getting my words out right. You're going to have to excuse me. But as far as how soft or crunchy you want them to be. And I do like to get them brown, and you're going to see in a little bit that we will get them brown. We'll use a little bit of vegetable broth at the end because you want to be able to take that wonderful umami flavor that you're building up and put it into your spaghetti. The reason I'm doing it this time in a non-stick skillet is because I want to show you how to cook onions on the stove. Normally, I would just put it into the pan that I'm going to use for the spaghetti, and then I don't have to worry about the vegetable broth. All right, what else we're doing? I've already got cut up. Got mushrooms over here. Got green, or not green, but yellow and orange peppers. Here's the tomatoes I'm going to be using. So just some whole steamed peeled tomatoes and juice. And to add a little bit of that umami flavor, some crushed tomatoes, fire roasted. It's going to be really good in there. Some of the other things, of course, if you're doing spaghetti, Italian seasoning, some minced garlic, we've got onion, salt, and pepper, and we should be good to go for that. So, as we're waiting for the onions to start really cooking for us, let's talk about a few things about why I batch cook. So I'm grabbing my notes right here. So, like I said, number one, freeze you up for the lazy days. We can take that. We've got a vacuum sealer. We put the spaghetti in batches into vacuum sealer, and then we throw it into our microwave. Or, you know what? I'm never going to get this right. We throw it into the freezer. Then I can just take it out. It's a good portion for a couple of days. Maybe then I have lunch for the next day. Number two, doesn't take that much time to double a batch versus just doing a single batch. It's really nice to be able to do a large batch, freeze some of it, have some for the lunch tomorrow. You're ready to go. You don't have to worry about where am I going to eat, because it's hard to eat out when you're actually trying to do whole food plant-based. 3, over time, you get a variety without any extra effort. So if you do soups, you can make bigger batches of soup. Chili is so easy to see that pot just get fuller and fuller with the stuff that you put in there. And then all of a sudden, you've got some frozen food and you've got some lunches for a few days. Leftovers, like I said, lunch, dinner the next night. It just makes it so much easier. I've got it. I can put a link in the description, but it's called a mini Hot Logic. I should go get it and show you. It's basically a hot plate. I do deliveries, and that hot plate is in a insulated bag. I can put my plastic container in there with my lunch for that day that I made the night before, and it gets nice and hot. But it gets up to about 165 degrees. Usually takes about an hour. So when I know that I'm getting to a spot where I can stop and take a break, my lunch is ready to go. Don't have to rely on anybody's microwave. Don't have to take cold lunches because I can't get, hot food in the car. It gets cold in Minnesota, and I just like to have something warm to eat on a cold winter's day. All right. 5, unexpected company. You've got your spaghetti already made. It's already in the freezer. You can just get it out, put it in a pan, and then all you have to do is boil some noodles. You're ready to go. Your friends and you can sit down and just have a really pleasant evening together without having to worry, what am I going to cook? Impromptu day trips. This is the one that I kind of get excited about because we like to go hiking. We like to be able to just get out of town. I'm sure a lot of people are the same exact way. We take with us a propane grill and sometimes a pot to go with it. So if I've got spaghetti or some other meal that I've cooked, or like I said, chili, can take that, put it on the grill, and then I've got food. My husband has the food that he wants to eat for our little trip, and we're good to go. If you batch cook, if you make some bigger meals, freeze them, it makes leaving the house, going out and having some fun, going and exploring regions just so much easier. All right. 7, if you work from home, and again, this comes back to lunch again. I know I'm focused on that, but for me, this is a big deal. If you work from home and you have to go into the office occasionally, again, you don't necessarily have to worry as much. You're ready to go. You've got the stuff made. It just takes a load off, especially on the days that you're tired of, and you've worked hard all day and just want to be able to put your feet up when you come home. That's another option, is for dinners. You can control the ingredients. I know I mentioned that a little bit before, but for people who are diabetic, you want to get rid of the sugar, the extra added sugar. People with heart disease want to be able to drop salt. On a whole food diet, you naturally drop the salt. Quite frankly, you're not eating the heavy fried foods and the meats and the cheeses that have a lot of salt in them. It just gets rid of those things. You naturally drop down. Right now, as I'm cooking, yes, I add a little salt to the onion. And actually, let's take a look at the onion right now. But I did not make it so that they're going to be super salty. All right. You can see right there a little bit. They're starting to get brown. So just take this, move them around a little bit. Okay. Probably should have looked at them a little bit sooner, but that's okay. So what I'll do, I'll show you with the broth what's going to happen. All right. Take the broth. Just put a little bit in there. Gets it boiling around the onion. And it's going to boil off a little bit. But also helps that onion just get that last little bit of cook that you want to have on it. All right. The onion is a little bit darker in some spots than I like. I distracted myself when I was talking, and I do that quite a bit. I am not the best cook in the world, but I'll tell you what, the longer I go whole food plant-based, the better I'm getting, and the more I'm actually liking what I cook. So I put it in to the pot, and then we're going to get this guy on the burner. Switch it around a little bit. Okay, this is going to be the fun part. I'm going to put in my whole tomatoes, and that's actually going to be what turns into the sauce. And I may add one more can. There is one other can, it's the fire roasted that I haven't put in yet. And I doubt that I'm going to need that third can. All right, I don't want to have those big chunks in there, so I'm just going to go ahead and immersion blend them. This is probably my favoriteest tool in the kitchen. I use this guy all the time. All right, there we go. It's quick, it's easy, and it does a very, very nice job. And the best part is that it's easy to wash up. All right. Okay, so essentially, that's the sauce that we've got in there. The other part is going to be to add all the ingredients. Now, when I cook, I am not the most measurable cook. I've got an idea of what I like, especially for spaghetti, because I've made it often enough. So, again, this is just 2 peppers, yellow and orange. Didn't do green this time. I could have if I wanted to, but color and variety is the more you get, the better you are, because it gets all the good micronutrients in there. I've got 2 8-ounce containers of baby bella mushrooms that I sliced up. Throw those in. Those will cook down. They'll also add some liquid to the broth. Here is the fire roasted tomato. Throw that in. This is going to be a big pot. It's going to be lovely. All right. You can't have spaghetti without the garlic. Good stuff. And I just eyeball it. It's a pretty big pot, so I'm putting in a pretty big scoop. And Italian seasoning. I like to measure it out a bit in my hand. I'm going to put some in right now. If I think it needs more, I'll put that in too. But sometimes I overdo it and it starts to get a soapy taste. I'm one of those people that can't stand cilantro. So I have to be careful about how much I put in. Same thing with the onion. Again, eyeball how much you want. You are the chef in the kitchen, and you'll learn. And there's a lot of people out there that are so much better cooks than I am. I am putting a little bit of salt in just to get some flavor in there. And of course, gotta go with the black pepper. Okay. Then we'll mix her up and see how it's going, how it's looking. Gonna slowly bring this up to a boil just to get the heat through everything. And then we'll let it simmer away for a little bit. And we'll finish up the list. Okay. So this is going to be thick. I was worried I might have to put some tomato paste. Worried really isn't the right word, but I was thinking about it. But I don't think I'm going to have to. Look at all of that loveliness. It's going to be nice and thick. I might have to add some broth to it. But other than that, let that go for a little bit, and then we'll be able to see how it tastes once all those seasonings get in through there. Okay. And again, back to number 8 was control ingredients, especially the salt, the oil, and the sugar. They put so much into prepackaged foods. And believe me, I love prepackaged foods for the convenience. It tastes wonderful, but that usually comes from salt, fat, and sugar. So being able to make something that you know you're going to enjoy and has less of all of that other stuff in there, it's a huge difference for your health. It lets your body relax. It lets it work on other processes to clear out the bad stuff. And then 9, best part is if it's frozen in your freezer, that's just another block of ice to help keep things cold. That was my husband's point. I thought that was pretty good because, yeah, the more you have in there, then it helps stay cold. It helps the electricity bill a little bit that way. So, batch cook your spaghetti. I'm going to let this go for a little bit. We'll give it another stir. And then we'll come back and see how it's doing. I'm actually going to throw a lid on top of this so that it does not lose all of its moisture. And like I said, as you probably know, when you've got mushrooms in something, those mushrooms release a lot of moisture. And that helps get it a little bit less thick. So if we have to add some broth into it, we're good to go. All right. I will see you in a little bit once we're ready for a taste test. All right. The spaghetti is finished. So I did stir it some for a while. Ended up watching some Resident Alien to wait for the spaghetti sauce to get nice and simmered together. Added some paprika, a little bit of soy sauce to add some of the umami, a little bit more salt, and a little bit more garlic. Now we're going to go ahead and plate up and see if this tastes good. I hope it does. It turns out a little bit different every time, and that's okay. Makes it interesting, makes it fun. There's my noodles, my big old pot, and all those lovely veggies in there. All right, the last thing that I'm going to put on is nutritional yeast. I love nutritional yeast. It's just, if you can't have Parmesan, can't have the cheese on top of the spaghetti, nutritional yeast takes it to that next level that you're looking for. If you want some other types of ingredients when you're actually making it, go for Rotel or salsa. Salsa or salsa. We're going to go with salsa. You can add some black olives. I wish I had some. I normally like to put that in there. It gives that little salt pop, little olive pop. And then capers. There's all kinds of different things. I've put in zucchini and yellow squash before. So let the spaghetti be the vehicle to get more vegetables into your diet, into your daily routine. And please, for veggies' sake, eat more veggies. All right. We got our salsa on, or not our salsa. Now that I'm talking about salsa, put the nutritional yeast on. Give it a little bit of a mix here, a little bit of a twirl. I'm not good at the twirling part. I'm the one person that cut my spaghetti still, but that's okay. Not today. Yep, that's it. That nutritional yeast just finishes it off the way I like it. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. God bless, and I'll talk to you soon.